go, there we go. Enough of my crazy music. I know how so many of you love my tunes out there, but how you all doing? Back again, nothing too serious, just a little chill out, some show prep, some updates from yesterday's coffee break stream as well. Really synchronistic updates. We're going to have a bit of comedy with that as well. More on that when we get into it. And we've got some Elon Musk news if we get stuck. We've also got the craziest criminal kind of chase that I have seen in a long time. So remember, this is nothing too serious. This is where you just basically get to chill with yours truly during the day, some extra content onto the channel, and hopefully we'll get some more members along the way. I was checking yesterday, and it's bad news, folks, because the more members you get, the higher the bar gets before you unlock new emojis. And of course, the next emoji that we're going to be unlocking is Anne's shoe. Now, I know there's so many people in the chat. John Nelson, you're going to be absolutely stoked. But we are going to get Anne's shoe as the next emoji, right? And then probably my beard after that. We'll just have a cutout. Maybe we'll get a cartoon done of me with a beard on. Something anyway. You know, you've got to be able to laugh at yourself, folks. But we need 12 more members before that becomes a reality. So, you know me being Quantum Kev, if we just kind of keep our concentration focused and not let that quantum wave collapse. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to round up those 12 subscribers before you know it. And of course, if you want to join the channel, there's a link in the description. And if you go to my channel page, which I'll bring up here, let me see, it's that one, yeah. You see Geordie there, obviously, triggering people. I had to put somebody that triggers people onto the front page of the channel, right? You know how I roll. I'm boisterous that way. Some would call me toxic nowadays. I don't know. But you see that big crazy join button there? If you just click on that, then that will make you become a member of the channel. Now, there's new options have opened up to us creators out there, which is really good. And I need to set up some of the kind of different levels of membership that people can participate in and contribute to. And remember, it's not all about that, because whether people sign up for the memberships or not, I will be here, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm going to go for every day. Really enjoyed yesterday. Really enjoy live streaming. Got a lot of time on my hands during the day. A lot of supporters out there who want to see more from me. So it's beyond a no-brainer, right? So we're going to get lots of coffee breaks, lots of impromptu kind of streams as well. Maybe some days when I find Charlie Robinson or Ryan Gable at a loose end, I'll drag them in as well. And we'll just have a kind of an impromptu chill out with some of the guests I get onto the Kev Baker show too. But more importantly than that, this is a show where I want to make you a huge part of the thing. And it's not even a show. I keep saying a show. It's because I come from Radio Land, right? It's just chilling out. It's just all of us getting together, having a laugh, going over some stories. Some days it'll be serious. You know, some days there'll be news that dictates that we have got a new sponsor, and that is Renzo. You see, that's how easy it is. You see? 12 down, 1 down, 11 to go. Wish it was 12 down, but we'll get that. And Renzo, thank you so much. Kristen, one of our mods in the chat room, she's dropping links to things. And if you've got any questions about being a member, or anyone coming into the stream, if you've got any questions at all, Kristen will hate me for this, but just ask her, okay? I defer to her, Nancy, Nana, when she comes in. I've got this matriarch going on in the chat room. I kind of give it to them. And that's how I compensate for my male toxicity. You see how the elites want you to pay like carbon taxes to like offset things and stuff like that? What I do is, to offset my bearded toxicity, I let the ladies run the chat room. Remember Gaddafi was kind of crack troops and they were all females. They were like female ninja assassins all around them. That's what we're going for, right? As long as Hillary doesn't come to Scotland one day to say she came, she saw, and we know how that went down. But let me just go into the chat room, right? And I'll just start off in there. So a big thank you to Trophy Cabbage. Great to hear whistles the other night. Absolutely, dude. You know, Over the years, people have come and gone. They've drifted in and out of the show. Sometimes my fault, sometimes their fault, sometimes just the way life goes. But Johnny, he's been there from the start when it comes to me doing the whole radio thing. And I literally mean we met each other the weekend that I went to Bilderberg, and he's always been there. And in recent times, when his health took a bad turn and that, well, first and foremost, we need Johnny healthy, right? So the show side of things takes a back burner. But to see him coming on now and again, that I know it makes me happy, and I know it makes all of you happy out there as well. I see somebody asking me if I've seen the first season of Impulse. No. Hang on now. I'm just going to take a quick look at this. Impulse. It sounds like the kind of show that I would like. You ever seen that one, Anne? Impulse? No? Let me see here. Bring it onto the screen for everyone. Impulse is an American science fiction drama web television series based on the novel Impulse by Stephen Gould that premiered on June the 6th, 2018 on YouTube Premiere. Now, the series is executive produced by Lauren LeFlanc, blah, blah. It was announced that the series has been renewed for a second season consisting of 10 episodes to premiere. So what's it about? Impulse follows the 16-year-old Henrietta Coles, who discovers she has the ability to mentally move objects as well as teleport, but has no control over her destination. Okay, I'm liking this already. I really am. The first time she realizes this, she is in a truck with her high school's basketball captain and star Clay Boone, who tries to rape her. Now, she has a seizure and teleports, in the course of which she inadvertently crushes him with her inherent telekinesis and teleports for the first time, leaving him a paraplegic. Well, if that was the real world, that would be justice done in my book for that heinous attack that he was attempting to carry out. The show goes on to explore Henry's need to reconcile what her assaulter tried to do with the consequence and her feelings about discovering she can teleport and psionically move objects from a distance, which are triggered by her feelings of fear regarding the assault. Now, that's fascinating. And I am going to check that out. And that's fascinating for a number of reasons. I've not seen this show, quite obviously. But it sounds to me as if this is one of these fictional stories that has taken real science, real stuff from the real world, and kind of woven it into a fictional tale. And why did I say that? You know, it talks there about psionically moving objects. Now, think of the movie The Men That Stare at Goats, things like that. It's pretty real, and you can historically fact check this, that the US military were very, very interested in, and I would imagine continue to be interested in, anybody that has any kind of telekinesis, any kind of psychic powers. And of course, they want to look at it from a point of view of weaponizing it. Now, I know remote viewing out there, it takes a bit of flack as well. And it's like anything. You know, there's going to be good people that are doing it genuinely. There's going to be bad actors, fakers, hoaxers, all the rest of it. But I do think that whole remote viewing thing, at the core of it, absolutely. You know, you have shaman and things over the years that have been able to attain levels of consciousness where they literally fly out to other dimensions, the same as the taking of something like ayahuasca does. So this is very real stuff that's been woven into a story, and that's why I love catching up on TV shows and things. People criticize it all the time, but hey, listen, it's not like we don't have our eyes open here, and I mean all of us, to some of the ills and some of the errors and some of the things that's wrong in the world. That doesn't mean we have to sacrifice chilling out and having a good time as well. You know, unplugging from the matrix that we plug ourselves deeper and deeper into every day. And people say, but it's programming. Okay, but it's like a magician. You know, a magician's cool, and it's really fascinating the first time you see a trick. Then over time, it starts to kind of wane your interest. And when you find out how the tricks are done, it really doesn't have that same wow factor, that effect anymore, right? And I honestly think it's the same with mind control, subliminals through the TV. If you know that they're doing that to you, and you also know some of the signs to look for, some of the symbols and things, then forearmed is forewarned, right? Or forewarned is forearmed. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. I can't remember who said that, but I'm definitely going to check it out. I like the sound of that one. And she's diving into Netflix right now. I'll grass her in. Yep, she's a Netflix junkie. As am I. As am I. So we'll go back to the chat room before we get into some of the stuff that we've got for today. And it's a brilliant update. Brilliant update for yesterday's story. Remember the story about the unicorns? Remember the AI that wrote that big fancy report about the unicorns? It's back in the news today. But I'm going to take it one step further because we're going to get an AI to write our own fake news report. Yep. You see, I told you it's synchronistic. It follows on perfectly from yesterday. I didn't know this was going to happen. So it says here, I almost watched Anthony Patch show once. Super exciting. Anthony Patch is great. And he still does a lot of work here on YouTube. Go and check him out. Still doing a lot of stuff on the AI, the real deep technical, and then into the kind of metaphysical, spiritual side of things. Really great. So we've got the Impulse one there. Renzo says, excited to be part of the community. The KBS audience is different. And I think it was Kristen had been saying this in Discord yesterday. She comes from watching other streams. You know, she's a moderator over at unis. And coming in here, somebody that goes into various live chats, she says you lot are different in a good way. So, Renzo, you've come to the right place. You really have. Make sure to ask questions. Kristen's telling people, yep. And somebody's talking about Gaddafi knew how to roll gold girls and guns. Gaddafi, he was a character, eh? He truly was. And like any dictator, he's got his bad side. But at the same time, there was a lot of good that Gaddafi done. That's the side that the West don't want you to hear about. But no triggering algorithms on the coffee stream. Don't get me into things like that. We have Queen Goddess back today as well. That's brilliant to see you, Queen Goddess. I think it was Queen Goddess. No, it was Alien Girl the other day was giving out some really excellent information about Aleister Crowley on the stream. That's brilliant. We've got Stimulate is back in today. We've got Green Mountain Girl or Green Mint Girl. The synchronicities are increasing, I've noticed. Do you think that is the case? I think it's the case. Or is it more a case of because we're aware of them, because we're conscious that synchronicities do occur, we notice them more now? You see, I think they've always been there. Not that way that one thing links into another, seems totally random topics, and then something comes up where, you know, by golly, without even knowing it, it does link to what you were looking at. Or like yesterday, you talk about a story and then all of a sudden there's the perfect update comes out today. So yeah, I don't know if it is like, I don't know. And that's going to be everyone's own subjective opinion, really. Some people might not even notice any of the synchronicities taking place, but that doesn't mean they're not there. And yeah, cool. Deep. So we've got Pat Riot in there. We've got Gordon M. We have got Braden Tibbs. I'd love to see Alex Jones and you go at it for a couple hours. What a show that would be. Braden, I'm one of the few people I find in the kind of YouTube land that really admits to being still a big fan of Alex. Now, that said, in recent times, with them being repoliticized and going into the whole world of murky politics and taking one side over the other, totally disagree with that. And it's not just that I disagree with it. I've got a reason behind it. I mean, he was instrumental. He was huge in waking me up. And him and David Icke were two of the main characters that woke me up to this left-right paradigm and politicians don't work for us and one side's as bad as the other. And in reality, they're all schmoozing together anyway, right? The agenda always moves forward. There's big political movings and shakings over here in the UK today, but I can't be bothered covering it. I really can't. Why? Because in the end of the day, it's all theatre. And whatever happens is already planned out and it's going to happen anyway. And us talking about it till the cows come home and all the rest of it does nothing. the agenda moves forward. All you end up doing is if you take political sides and cover that enough, you're going to divide people. And I think that's the last thing I ever want to do. And if you people out there are into politics and that's their shtick, awesome. Awesome stuff. Awesome. But just appreciate that not all of us are that way inclined. But to have Alex Jones on for half an hour on KBS, an hour, dude, it would be like having David Icke back on. It would be like having Geordie Rose on again. It'd be like having Sean Atwood on the other night. You know, Sean Atwood, that was a really big thing for me as well. And anyone who hasn't checked him out, please check him out. And I get that people say Alex is controlled and all the rest of it. And, you know, show me hard evidence of that, perhaps, yeah. And yeah, he's got his own leanings, he's got his own faults, but who doesn't love the crazy Texas madman and his gay frogs and everything else, right? Come on, those rants are priceless. So yeah, people talking about LARPing in the chat room. We've got Gordon M from Glasgow. Gordon, that scares me that you're from Glasgow, because one thing I love about doing the Kev Baker show is that nobody in Glasgow knows me. Nobody in Scotland has any clue who I am. People in America, more so. Australia, definitely. But nah, we've got Renzo saying, Kev, Alex, Eddie Bravo, and Joe Rogan is a podcast I'd like to see. Joe Rogan, wow. And again, Joe, he comes in for some criticism, but I love watching Joe. Love his style. Love the fact that he gets very stoned in most of his broadcasts as well. Not that I would ever do anything like that. Honestly, look at me. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? So anyway, listen, I'm never going to get to some of the stories if I keep on chilling out with you great people in the chat room. And remember, if you want to support the stream, just whack that $ and drop a couple of bucks this way. It would be much appreciated. So yesterday, let's get into it. I started off with a report about deep fakes, right? We were talking about deep fakes, and I wrote an article over on Patreon. You can join the Patreon if you'd like to support that way as well. See how I wove that in? That was pretty pro, right? Me, a pro, please behave. So, hang on now. Before we get going, I need to remember to do one thing. I need to send my old mother a link, because if I don't send her a link, then this could go horribly wrong. She'll be raging. I'll be in trouble. Where is she? You see how I do this on the fly? Multitasking, folks. Multitasking. And Armand has got back to me. I just messaged him quickly, tell him to come over at the stream. Right, we're there, folks. We're there. See? You see, I told you it was like going to be dysfunctional, disjointed, and just chilling out, right? So, like I was saying yesterday, started off with a report, and I'm just going to play a little, maybe a minute of this, right? Because this is important. It's really important, and it links to something really funny, really amusing as well. So let's take a listen to what this numbnut here was saying yesterday, right? Look at the state of him. What an absolute numpty. I was just looking at some stuff today, and I wrote a quick article for everyone over on Patreon, and that's another way that you can support the stream here, the show, if you like what you see. Listen, I don't churn out hundreds of content. I'm really going to start to make a real concerted effort to put more articles out there, more audio files, kind of things that you're only going to get on Patreon, keeps kind of exclusive stuff for on there. But I tell you what, folks, I was watching a video today. I'll just bring this up here. And I think this is really important that we all get our head around this. It's something we've heard about before, fair enough, right? But deep fakes. Now, this channel here is James Corbett, the Corbett Report. Okay, right, let me pause it there, right? Remember that name, James Corbett. If you haven't checked out James Corbett, please, please do. Very, very intelligent guy. Very a great kind of perspective on current events, on the historical side of things as well, which is important to get a grip of, right? Because you can never understand what's going on today if you don't look at what's happened in the past. So we've got James Corbett, right? And I went from James Corbett and the deep fakes, and I was highlighting the fact that deep fakes aren't just videos where you can take somebody's face and put it on somebody else, or create an entirely fictional kind of piece of work using somebody's face. It's not just that, because you've got audio deepfakes, and you've also got a form of deep fake text, okay? This is the one that leads to, they talk about fake news generators and all of that stuff. So we talked about this yesterday, and this was the OpenAI GPT-2. Now, I'm just trying to catch people up who didn't see yesterday. You can watch yesterday's show. But in this, they gave you the example of why this is really dangerous, this AI, because it's so lifelike. It's really hard to tell if it's a robot writing this, an AI, or if it's a human. And just to give you an idea, here's what the humans wrote. They input this text, and it says, in a shocking finding, scientists discovered a herd of unicorns living in a remote, previously unexplored valley in the Andes Mountains. Even more surprising to the researchers was the fact that the unicorns spoke perfect English. So at that point, the humans left it and gave it to the AI. And I'm only going to read a couple of paragraphs from this part. It says the scientists named the population after their distinctive horn, Ovid's unicorn. These four-horned silver-white unicorns were previously unknown to science. Now, after almost 2 centuries, the mysteries of what sparked this odd phenomenon is finally solved. So that part there, I mean, that's all written by an AI. And it goes on and it gives a really kind of in-depth report on these unicorns that was mentioned in the first paragraph. So we done that yesterday and that was cool. And then today I'm looking for stuff to talk about with you when we're having our coffee here, talking of coffee. That reminds me. So imagine my surprise, or should I say surprise anymore? I should have known there'd have been an update on this story coming out today. Get a load of this, folks. If I just scroll up here. An AI capable of writing fake news that was deemed too dangerous to release has now been made public by 2 rogue software developers. Now, OpenAI didn't release the GPT-2 that we had an example of there. But what they did do was they published the white papers about the generative adversarial networks that were able to construct all of this fake news, as they keep calling it, okay? And it says here, experts shared code from the full version of the AI software held back from the public. The OpenAI project was concerned that it was too dangerous to release. The pair of students say they aren't hoping to cause chaos by releasing the code. They want to show that this software is achievable without billions of funding. And you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, I have that code here for you today. And yeah, we're going to generate some fake news live right here on the channel. We're not going to publish it. And when you see in a moment what it comes up with, it would be unpublishable anyway. And bear in mind, this isn't the GPT-2 that was considered too dangerous by Elon Musk's OpenAI. This is just what some students have done with the same code. They've taken the same algorithms. The one that GPT-2 was fed all of the data from Reddit. Now, don't worry about the content you find on Reddit. They use that because of all of the words that's on there. And then it scanned all of that, learned from all of that, and that's how we got the unicorn story. Well, if we come over here, talk to transfer. This is what it's called, okay? See how a modern neural network completes your text. Type a custom snippet to try one of the examples. Learn below. So as you can see, I have typed something out. And it's the answer. It's the response. It's the completion of this story that blew my bloody mind. I'm telling you, this is crazy. We're going to get some music on for this. We need to build this one up. You can read on the screen there what's happening. I'll get the music going. Yeah, we'll have a bit of that. We'll have a little bit of that. How's that, folks? You still hear me good, I hope? Hopefully we can turn it down just a little bit more, maybe. No, that'll do it. So I'll check with the chat room. Can you hear me? With the music on in the background. Franklin says, not sure I believe in AI. It's just long code. It's just algorithms. You know, look down the... I'll turn this off just now. But if you look down the recommended list on the side of your browser right now, I mean, it's AI that puts that there. And I get what you mean. You're probably talking about artificial general intelligence. And we're not getting into the artificial general intelligence here. This is just a very narrow, very specific text-based generator, okay? Now, when you do start to get into artificial general intelligence, then it's arguable. I mean, how do you define intelligence? This thing's going to have a computing power way beyond anything we've ever seen before. Does that define intelligence? And what if one day the artificial general intelligence turns around and says, no, I'm not carrying out that task. You know, if it becomes self-aware, and bear in mind, I mean, what are we? What are we in reality? We're a bunch of electrical signals flying about in a warm and wet brain full of qubits. And from all of the information that goes into that neural pathway in forms of light and sound and other stimuli, we're able to create this world around us, all of reality. So I don't know, Frank. I'm on the fence. I think they can. Maybe not now, but further down the road. But this is cool. And I get it, Kristen. It was a tad loud. That's why I had to put it off there. Pesky thing. We're going to get into it, though. So what's the fake news saying? It says here, and this is what I wrote in, all right? Yep. So we'll make it about the Kev Baker show, you know, the narcissist, the egotist that I am. I'm just picking up some of the words that the trolls use, so let's feed the trolls. It says, the Kev Baker show on Truth Frequency Radio comes live from Scotland. Kev started out on YouTube and then was offered the chance to have his own radio show, and he hasn't looked back since. He covers everything from geopolitics to quantum mechanics and beyond. Right? So I chose the 4 lines of text purposely to keep it very like the test sample that the scientists at OpenAI gave their one. And bear in mind, this isn't the same one. Okay? This is just using the same kind of architecture for the neural network, a generative adversarial network. It's a form of machine learning. They feed it in words, it analyzes sentences, and it comes up with its own thing. And when I put in that spiel there about the Kev Baker show, take a look at this. Kev Baker, and I'll go through the first bit again. The bit in the bold is what I wrote. Kev Baker show on Truth Frequency Radio comes live from Scotland. Kev started out on YouTube and then was offered the chance to have his own radio show, and he hasn't looked back since. Now, he covers everything from geopolitics to quantum mechanics and beyond. So from this point forward, you're reading what is being created by an AI based on what I've said there. Right? And this is where it's going to get funny, it's going to get weird, and it's going to make you think, what the... Can't really say that word, but check this out. Join the show now by using the promo code TRUTH for a free month of premium content. Free view in iTunes. Oh, that, I mean, you could read on from that. That makes sense, right? But this is where it starts to get a bit bizarre. 15 clean James Corbett Jr. on the Corbett Report, CIA, Deep State, and the New World Order. James Corbett is a former host of the Corbett Report, a popular radio show that discusses global conspiracy theories from a viewpoint of an average Joe. Corbett has spent 30 years covering news, politics, science, culture, covering subjects from World War to the Illuminati, the New World Order, FEMA camps, UFOs, government mind control experiments, the JFK bad day, that bad dude in the cave, and much more. James is also the host of an award-winning, bad word-orientated web series, The Corbett Report, which focuses on uncovering how the US government uses the mainstream media and alternative media outlets to create a perception of popular culture that is not actually representative of real events. James is currently the host of the popular YouTube program, and it stops there. Now, do you see why I was weirded out when just yesterday I started off the show by talking about James Corbett? And then I go to a random AI text generator today, put my name in, and it came up with 2 lines here that's relevant to what I wrote. But then it goes into a whole heap of weirdness about James Corbett. Right. Let's do one ourselves, okay? I'll go to the chat room. Pick some topic, okay? Put it in, type at, and then my name, so I'll see it highlighted, okay? That's how you highlight somebody's name in here. That comes up big and bold for people. So if you highlight something, and then give me a story, something funny, Sasquatch, or, nothing too serious, nothing too heavy, folks, all right? Damn, I thought we only had 61 in the chat. Let me refresh my view count. I think we've got 95 in there now or something. Whoa. That's good stuff. So yeah, I'm going back to the chat. Remember, tag me. Kristen's in there. We got S-Mac in there. Shelley Swedberg. I like that. Let's see. I'm aware we're having to wait. Yes, that's it, Kristen. She's showing you how to do it. And Queen Goddess, I agree. That is weird, right? That's weird. And I don't know what the data set is that these scientists have based this version of the program on, okay? We've got Armand in the chat room. Armand, I messaged you today. If you're free for hour 2 tonight, Armand, we could hook up and do our poltergeist creepy show tonight. If you're up for it, bro, if you're up for it. And I don't mean to ask you live on here, but I was going to ask you over on YouTube. Facebook, but obviously I got started here. Actual AI wouldn't need any code. Well, you see, you can start dissecting these things, but we know what they mean by artificial intelligence. And it's neural networks, it's machine learning, it is code. That's what AI is in our current form when we talk about it. And you could have an artificial intelligence that comes out of nothing. But when we talk about AI, that's what we're on about, Frank. Let's see. Loch Ness. Let's do Loch Ness. That's a brilliant one. Brilliant. Right then. Loch Ness is home to one of the world's most elusive and mysterious monsters. The Loch Ness Monster has been seen by many people over the years. It is said to have a long neck and sometimes reportedly has a hump or 2 on its back. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready, folks? This is how easy it is, and I'll drop the link to this. This is just a website. These guys have put it on a website. We'll get back into this story about it in a minute. But Loch Ness Monster, right? Come on, what's it going to come up with? I love this. Here we go. And you actually watch it, it starts like writing it in chunks. So it says here, we'll start at the top. We wrote the bit we wrote about how it's reportedly got a long neck and 2 humps on its back. It walks along the shore between the water and the land in the loch. Now, the land in the loch, okay, that doesn't quite make sense, but you know what I mean? There has been only one confirmed incident of the Loch Ness Monster, but it has been described as a man-devouring beast. Where does it get that from? It's weird. The event was said to have happened in July 1923. Now, there have also been reports of lobsters emerging from the water, or lobster men. I've never heard of lobster men in like Loch Ness, but this is cool. I'm liking this. The Loch Ness Monster is also referred to as the Big Death, and the Loch Ness Monster's body is said to be extremely hard to shake. It's believed to be almost indestructible. Not bad for a beast that nobody's ever really kind of examined. I'm liking this AI. I like this. This could provide me with content from my website, folks. I'm only joking. It is said that the Loch Ness Monster appears in the dark waters of the deep when a fish or crab swims to the surface. Don't get crabs in Loch Ness, but let's not split hairs over that. Other stories say that the Loch Ness Monster is able to fly, while others say it only floats for a split second. A flying Loch Ness Monster. Now, take away the content, okay? We're having a laugh with the content. But can you see how this code really could be dangerous? You see why the real thing was held back? The one that wrote about the unicorns? Because how would we differentiate between what was created by humans and what was created by a bot like that? And we'll create another one in a minute, but let's just take a look at what it says in this article, right? I haven't read all this article. I just seen it today, and I knew right away when I seen the headline, it was to do with GPT-2. I found the link to that talk to transformer, because this is what you call, this is the kind of neural network. That's the name for it. They call it a transformer. And you can dig into the technical side of this on channels like Computer File. I'll take a note of that so I can get a link to use about that. It's a really good channel for the techie side of AI, neural networks, programming, hacking, all that kind of stuff. But it says here, an artificial intelligence project capable of writing fake news that was deemed too dangerous to release to the public has been created by two university students. An OpenAI, a project founded by the support of Elon Musk. We've got another Musk story before I go away today as well. Is able to generate news stories from a headline or first line of text. Now, in February, the firm released a limited version of its software for other developers to use to explore its potential. The firm, which Musk is no longer involved in, I didn't actually know that, has since launched an updated version of the software with half of the power of the full AI. I think we've seen the half of the power in the first version, right? I tell you what, it was weird how it kind of went back to Corbett, and I brought up Corbett yesterday, and it was kind of the same stuff that I talk about. I don't know, I'm weirded out by that. It'll be interesting if we find out in this article what data sets they trained this on. Where did they take the language, the text, the prose that this analysed so that it can do what it does? Like I said, when it comes to the real one, this one here, they went to Reddit. Now, it's going to be interesting if we find out where these people here went to. So it says, now, computer science master's students Aaron Gokazlan and Vanya Cohen from Brown University have shared code for what they say is the full version. And you come down, you can see the website that I was on, that they've got one in there. It says, the pair say they aren't hoping to cause chaos by releasing the code, but want to show that creating this kind of software is achievable without the resources of someone like Elon Musk. They used free cloud computing time provided by Google to academic institutions to complete the project. Speaking to Wired, Mr. Cohen said, this allows everyone to have an important conversation about security and researchers to help secure against future potential abuses. And by that, they mean they're going to have to come up with algorithms that can counter this, that can spot when this has been used. Says, I've gotten scores of messages and most of them been like, way to go. The software called GPT-2 was trained using 8 million web pages and adapts the style and content of what it produces in line with your input. Far from the dystopian fake news generator its creators cautioned of, the text it generates is disjointed and clearly not the work of a talented author. Now, in this one here, admittedly, you can find errors in there. But what happens over time with any network like this is it gets better and better. And if you feed it more and more data to look at, then it will inevitably get better and better and better. And I think the scientists, the two students that put this out, I think they were right to put this out just to demonstrate. And we can have a laugh with it as well. The kind of thing that it can do. And you think of all the content we see online, how much of that might already be getting generated by not GPT-2, but some similar software that we've not heard about. And what this all does is, or my fear with all of this is, deep fakes, fake news, fake audios, fake text, fake writing. We've seen in recent times on YouTube this thing called authoritative sources. Or authoritative sources. I'm bad at speaking, forgive me. But what that means is, like the kind of the holders of the truth, the mainstream media, that's where they direct you to. And not for us people here that know that these kind of things happen, and we know that they would love us just to be subjected to one source of news, that propaganda. You know, think of the people who aren't aware of deep fakes and aren't aware of the bigger agendas that are going on in the world. And they really are going to throw their hands up in the air at some point and say, I just don't know what to believe anymore. And that's what the government wants. That's exactly what they want people to do. Because that problem, reaction, solution will say, it's okay. We know exactly what to do. We'll get rid of the Alex Joneses and the Kev Bakers of this world, and you can come and see us at CNN and Sky News and BBC, and we are the ones that tell you the truth. Don't believe anything else you see. You can't trust all that. You see, you have to come to us, the authoritative, chosen sources, the ones that we've been trying to flee from for so long, right? You see how that works? It's clever. It's clever. So as much as I like playing about with this kind of technology, having a laugh with it, and we'll do one more before we move on, right? It's dangerous as well. Always keep that in mind. Always think, what else can this be used for? Always try and play out many, many different angles. Doesn't always mean they're real, doesn't always mean they're going to come to fruition. But again, forewarned is forearmed. So come on, let's go back to the crazy fake news generator. I'm sorry, GPT-2. What will we talk about this time? We'll go for Elon Musk, right? Since this was his brainchild. Well, it's OpenAI, lots of different programmers. Elon Musk recently... Elon Musk was recently in the news again because of his tweet in which he talked about nuking Mars. Then yesterday, his SpaceX company had a successful launch of the strangest looking spaceship ever. Right, it's only 3 lines. We'll see what it comes up with, right? Somebody's talking about No Man's Sky in the chat room. What they say? Kev's a busy man. Hope he doesn't burn himself out. When will he find time to play No Man's Sky? Oh, hey, Nana in there as well. Scott Lopez. And Scott, that's what I'll do in a moment, right? I'll write a line about AI and see what it generates about itself. Great idea, right? But let's see here. So we've got the SpaceX one, right? Oh, I'd already done it. But it's going to create another one because that's what it does. It does it on the fly, look. So it says here, it's been nicknamed Falcon Heavy. The vehicle has been built and tested by the SpaceX team at its Hawthorne, California HQ and is slated for its maiden flight in early 2014. It's a massive vehicle with a weight of over 8,400 pounds. I'm going to check and see if that's right. The flight is part of SpaceX's plan to put people on Mars by 2025. They're currently working on getting the spacecraft ready for that first mission. SpaceX has developed this vehicle as a replacement for the Falcon 9 rocket, which, while many of us were hoping the craft that we are about to see would be a giant Dragon capsule, we were a bit disappointed. Instead, it has become the heaviest Falcon Heavy ever made, with the largest payload of any Falcon 9. It was designed to deliver a 9-ton payload to the ISS to replace the entirely retired Dragon spaceship with a weight of 11,500 pounds. It will be capable of carrying as much cargo as two 747s. Whoa, wow. Okay then, Scotty Lopez in the chat room. Scotty says, and Scotty will be joining me either tomorrow night or we'll be back on for Freaky Friday. He's getting his new chair delivered tomorrow. Comes with boosters, comes with AI. This thing is going to be the demon chair. Shouldn't say demon chair. I'll probably trigger people out there. I'll have people writing to me complaining. But it says here, Open AI recently created an AI neural network capable of producing text that is indistinguishable I don't know how to spell that word. That is producing text that it is feared will be used to create fake news. The AI called GPT-2 was fed data sets from Reddit and can write news reports, answer questions, and lots more. Let's see. Like that noise, right? Yeah, here we go. Well, I'll just pull this up here. We'll look at it in a second, folks. We're getting there. Open volume mixer. Where are we? Let's get this down a bit. See if I can get the music on now. Let's see. Where are we? Music Maestro. There we go. It's a bit lower, right? No, I'm going to turn it off. Damn them. Here we go. So lots more. GPT-2 now has an AI sentience, or what they call sensory capabilities, and it can learn and tell the difference between facts, falsehoods, facts, and lies. Okay, that's a bit repetitive, that bit there. Not what your general human would say, but wow! GPT-2 is currently being tested by research teams led by the University of Michigan, Duke University, Stanford University, and MIT, amongst others, and has already received over 300,000 responses from around the world from a global audience. The goal of the GPT-2 is to provide the tools and algorithms necessary to create better news and content using AI and machine learning. Folks, you're listening to what the AI is describing itself as here. We've crossed the uncanny valley. Look in the rear view mirror. Uncanny valley that way. Where we go this way, I have no idea. Using AI and machine learning, the sample principles have helped Google improve both its own search and its own search results. Here's what GPT-2 looks like. There's no denying that in the past we've relied on human writers and news websites to fill in the gaps. But many of the time, it seems like human editorial and news teams, and I'm freaked out. So I'm going to drop that in the chat for people right now. Scotty Lopez, wow, indeed. Yeah, there you go. There's the link. Nana, great to see you here today. Mr. Stonely in there as well. Somebody's talking about going out here from Mars, the shielding on the ship just to come back. The radiation out there in space is so high that you can't do it. Well, I would challenge that, and I would say to you, go and listen to the interview I done with Dr. David Wormflash. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with him. However, this is a guy that's worked at NASA on the Phobos Grunt mission. And not only that, he was explaining to me about the Van Allen radiation belts. And I've always been one that said, Van Allen, it's a no-go, can't do it. But then he starts talking about the angles that you go at, the different densities, and the equivalent. What the equivalence is, what radiation you are bombarded by. And it's interesting. That's all I would say to that. So, again, I used to be firmly in the Van Allen camp, things like that. But I don't know. So, we've had all of that. Scotty Lopez is wowed. Wait, it provided a sample within its sample. Yeah, Scott, it's weird. And you know what's even weirder about that, Scott? We're going to come back here and check this out. And this is why it's so dangerous. Because I'm going to generate another, right? And we've seen what it said last time. This time it says, the new AI can be made by simply feeding it with data, and it doesn't know or even it thinks are fakes. It's only come up with a little one that time. Hang on now. Here we go. There's a new one again. In a video demonstrating that the AI can create its own articles, it seems a bit strange to use, at least at first glance, the fake news label as such. It does seem a little strange, however, when you consider that for the past month, the bot has tweeted over 50 times about a variety of news topics, mostly related to President Trump. Oh, the tweet in question was posted on Tuesday with the hashtags fraud news and hashtag bombshell. The tweet stated, fraud news, Trump is failing to deliver a budget that proves he is able to achieve. Bombshell, GPT-2, at GPT-2, February 22nd, 2017. Many pointed out that many of the quotes coming from such bots are simply nonsensical, but it's impossible to know what they're referring to on a real news article, as those are usually sourced independently. However, Scotty, Nana, Van Allen, basically irrelevant. The way that they describe it, absolutely. I'm with, yeah, Nana, that's what I think. Scotty Lopez, how freaked out are you right now with that, eh? And you could do it again, and you could do it again, and you could do it again, and it's going to be different every time. And this is what me and Scott have said before. Don't think about the news generator now. Think about bots on YouTube, on comment section on Twitter, stuff like that. You're honestly going to think you're engaging with it and speaking to somebody human, and you might think, well, that looks a bit weird that time. Well, it's never going to make that mistake again because it's totally different every time. And you can see how you could have 10, 100, 100,000 versions of this on a botnet running, all commenting on one video, and every single one of them coming up with a unique comment. Now, how the hell do platforms fight that, let alone us try to distinguish what's right and what's wrong and what's real and what's not? Now, I'm starting to sound like the AI, right? But I'm not going to keep you too much. Yeah, Scotty, that is insane. Yeah. King Sweet Kev, ask it to describe how the quantum computer works. Scotty Lopez, he's asking for that as well. I'll send it to you on Facebook, Scott. There you go. Yeah, I knew people would like this. I knew people would be quite interested by this. I'm interested in this. And anyone can do it at home. That's the cool thing. It's called, and I'll just bring up the website again so you can see it, talk to transformer. And again, the transformer is what they describe this type of process, what this neural net does. Really, really cool. So it says, see how a modern neural network completes your text. Type a custom snippet or try one of the examples. Learn below. Do, do, do. So there you go. Yeah. Now then, moving on to another couple of stories before we go. We've got another Elon Musk one. We'll be quick with that. And then we've got the craziest criminal I've seen in a long, long time. So what else has Musk been up to? Well, the fake news generator almost told us. It says, we have liftoff. Watch the moment that Elon Musk's Starhopper prototype rises 500 feet above the launch pad and touches down safely in a cloud of smoke as it completes its most ambitious test yet. Now, for me, as much as I love Elon Musk, this here has to be the weirdest and stupidest looking lander, spaceship, aerial vehicle. Call it what you will. It's an abomination to aerodynamics. It truly is. It looks like a flying dustbin. It does. It looks like somebody's jettisoning the garbage off the planet and we're just going to fire it all into space. So we'll take a quick look at it here. Fast forward. Kill the noise, man. There it is taking off there. Elon, you're a genius, but come on, dude. Surely you could have got a better design than that, right? No Man's Sky looks better than that. So yeah, there you go. That's the latest in the world of Musk. Now, I know there'll be people out there say this is fake. Everything's fake. I get it. I'm one of these believers. I'm one of these old timers. You know, the beard should give it away. I do still think some things are real, folks. I know. People will hate me for it, right? And I use that pesky thing called logic. And damn, does that turn people off from the Kev Baker show. But one last story before we go. Or before I dip my toe into the chat room, okay? And this here comes from a channel called Johnny Supertramp. Now, I urge you all to check out Johnny Supertramp, but I want to know what the hell is happening in Virginia for this to be going on. Now, this here is described as a triple homicide suspect leading police on a naked chase in Virginia. Who's chasing who here? Is this comedy? ABC 13? It gets worse though, folks. Stick with it. Naked man. He's about to go and jump somebody. Imagine just getting into your truck and some naked dude with junk swinging in the air. Get your junk off me. I would have leathered him. You know what this deserves, don't you, folks? You know what's coming. You know what's coming next.
3 hours later.
Clown world. I have no idea. And you know what the funniest bit about this whole story is? I think it's funnier that we don't know what was going on. Because this is just bizarre. Like I say, you just don't know who's chasing who here. The dude's got a gun. Okay, I'm not saying shoot the naked guy. I know he's not much of a threat, but come on. He's about to jump a dude. He's got his junk all over him. That doesn't go down in Glasgow, man. Well, look like that in his face. This dude needs tasing or something. What's he doing carrying his gun like that?
3 hours later.
So I don't know, folks. I really don't know anymore. But I found that today from Johnny Supertramp. We're going to have a lot more crazy criminals on here. We'll be looking at some of the crazier criminals in the UK in the days to come. Because what this is all about is having a laugh, having a joke, and me having a coffee and chilling out with you cool people out there. So I'm going to go into the chat for 5-10 minutes, and then we're gone. So let me scroll back up, see what people are saying about this. We've got Armand in there. Brilliant stuff to see you. Funny. Does it does it take into account the type of audience it's broadcasting to? Do you mean the AI? No, it only takes into account the sentences that you feed it. That's the only thing it bases its text on. The only thing. That's it. It analyzes the text, and then from the learning it's done, how sentences and everything else are structured. I'm laughing because when you start to look into the programming side of it, and I'll bring up that channel I was talking about. A really good channel for people to subscribe to here. Again, especially if you're into the more technical side of AI and stuff like that. It's a channel called Computer File. And they've got over nearly 1.5 million subs. So I'm going to drop the link in the description to this. I don't know how they are for copyright, because there's some things on there I would love to play for people. Yeah, so Alan, yeah, there you go. When you start to read into it, and the story from yesterday, it describes as well how, you see here, basically, the human written, the system prompt, it's just this 4 lines. It's that initial story that you give it. If you give it something about moon rocks, it's going to give you a story about moon rocks. If you give it something about anything, any of the conspiracies out there, anything at all, dude, cars, cucumbers, it's going to come up with something specific to that topic. And in this one here, the full version of it that they haven't released, I mean, this was able to look at, basically, you see in there the Andes mountain, and in the story it created, it came up with a doctor who was from La Paz. So it recognizes the geography. That's the point here, you know. And like I say, it goes on to do a lot more things. It answers questions. It can do so much more. But this side of it, yeah, it is very specific to what you're asking it. But again, Computer File. This is the one to go to. And again, it looks really kind of techie, stuff like that. Some of it is. Some of it's way over my head. But then some of it's very, very relevant to what we talk about on here. So we'll get to the big screen again. We'll just dip our toe into the chat. Kristen's loving the crazy criminals. Absolutely. Backwards is just as funny. Yep. I think he just wants a hug to get him on KBS. The Darwin Award. Armand, brilliant. Benny Hill. Yeah, Benny Hill. Can you imagine Benny Hill nowadays in this world of political correctness and gender madness? Oh, there we go. I've triggered the algorithm. You know that got me banned, right? I'm only joking. You know I love you, algorithm. I'm very good to you during the daytime streams. Let's see. Like, shuttlecock, it does look. If you've got a body like that, you shouldn't be running about naked. Definitely not. What else we got in here? This one's hilarious. Good thing he didn't do that to a priest. Good one, Stimulate. Yeah, that's about it, folks. That's about it. So Shelley says we are smarter than the bucket of bolts that is AI. Yes. For now. I'm only joking. You know how, come on, you know how back in the day I used to go all ooga booga anytime AI and robots came up, and recently I've tried to keep it more on the side of the science as opposed to going into the ooga booga. Everyone goes into the ooga booga. I try and keep it scientific and cool and funny, and more importantly, I look at the AI and look at the advantages we could get. Dead easy to look at all the negative stuff and the way it could turn out, that dystopic future, but we've already got people that are benefiting from having skin cancer picked up earlier because it's able to do it faster than human doctors. No, it's not knocking the human doctors. It's just, that's so perfect for AI. It looks for patterns, you know, just like that one looks for patterns in your speech. The one that's trained on skin, it looks for patterns that it picks up on before humans can see it. So that's saving lives. Literally saving lives. And then you could have AI tailoring your medication specifically for you to the point where, you know, it is absolutely helping people. Again, good and bad with everything, right? It's like the gun. it depends whose hands it's in. It's not the tool that's evil per se. It's those who are wielding it. Perhaps at times those who are creating it. But again, I like to give the scientists the benefit of the doubt. Think of how exciting it must be in one of these AI labs to be working on stuff like this. I bet you not one of them spend 1 second thinking about ooga boogas and other dimensions and the kind of negative stuff we hear on here. I bet none of them have any intentions of creating an AGI that goes full Skynet and Cyberdyne on us. I hope. Oh God, I hope. Hopefully. See, I'm always the optimist, right? It's my coffee. It keeps me going. It's a cold coffee now. A very cold coffee. How to ask how to stump the AI, ask how it feels. Well, we'll do that, right? We'll say, there are people in the world that believe artificial general intelligence will never be achieved. One way to stump any AI is to ask it how it feels, because no machine can have feelings, right? Are we going to regret putting this one in? Remember, this is fictional stuff that a neural network AI comes up with. Nothing to worry about here. Let's do it. Let's spin the dice one last time before we go today. Okay, then. We got the bit that I wrote. The world of AI is already making us uncomfortable in surprising ways. One example of AI-induced comfort by computer scientist Andrew McAfee in an article with Wired was a robot in San Francisco called Pepper. Pepper's a real robot. I know Pepper's a real robot because myself and Nano Girl used to speak about Pepper all the time. Okay? So when the system found out that people who wanted to buy them pizza were in fact robot lovers, it was very angry. Another example of AI-caused discomfort I'm not entirely clear on is called The Great Equalizer by computer researcher Jonathan Zittrain. The system, which is trying to figure out how to get an equal income from the lowest wage earners in America, had a great time when Zittrain asked the machine if the people in the video game Minecraft might become like him and become more popular. I want to create this AI, it said. If you want to play Minecraft, tell me, I'll buy it. The Great Equalizer is a perfect example. Oh, no, that's weird. And I forgot to bring that up on screen there. But there's what I asked it, okay? There are people in the world that believe artificial general intelligence will never be achieved. One way to stump any AI is ask it how it feels, because no machine can have feelings, right? And then it goes into a couple of weird AI stories. And I know Pepper's real. This one here's a bit weird though, right? Another example of AI-caused discomfort I'm not entirely clear on is called The Great Equalizer by computer researcher Jonathan Zittrain. The system, which is trying to figure out how to get an equal income for the lowest wage earners in America, had a great time when Zittrain asked the machine if the people in the video game Minecraft might become like him and become more popular. I want to create this AI, it said. If you want to play Minecraft, tell me. I'll buy it. So yeah, we're out of time, folks. We're truly out of time here. And before I go, Scott Lopez, keep an eye on Scotty over on Facebook in the coming days. There's a lot of kind of storm updates that Scott will be bringing us with hurricanes, etc. on the very, very close horizon. I believe there's news about that breaking today. So keep up with everything Scott's doing on Facebook. He's going to be streaming himself soon. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, for more chilling out, more coffee time with the KBS crew. And remember, we need more subscribers. We need to unlock Anne's shoe. Yes, and shoe, the next emoji. Get it going. Let's get it on. And we are out of here, folks. Where did I put my music? Oh no. Kev's groovy music, right? We all love my music. Let's see now. Now, before I go, I'm just going to check something. I'm just going to check something about tonight's show. Give me 2 seconds. Yes. Now then, you see Armand in the chat room. Hopefully Armand will drop a link to his YouTube channel in a moment. Because tonight's show in hour number 2, I'm going to be joined by Armand. And we're going to be talking about poltergeists, the occult, Aleister Crowley, magic, woo, all of the good stuff, as I like to call it. And maybe, just maybe, we might stream hour number 2. We might simulcast that. We might record. Just keep an eye on the channel, folks. That's the best thing to do. Click the bell. Hopefully it'll notify you. And yeah, we'll take it from there. And I will get you added up over on Skype, Armand. I'm going to go and grab myself a coffee and I'll come back and I'll get into that. But yeah, definitely going to get into all of that good stuff in hour number 2 of the Kev Baker Show later. And that's 11 p.m. in the UK. You can also have it at 6 p.m. No, 5 p.m. I see now I've confused myself because it's hour number 2. Best thing to do is 10 p.m. in the UK for the Kev Baker Show, 5 p.m. on the East Coast, and 2 p.m. on the West Coast. And then Armand will be on in hour number 2. In hour number 1 today, I'm going to have Don Wiskin joining me for his monthly visit. So I hope to see you all there. And if you can't get enough of KBS, if you want another fix before I come on the radio later, if you are one sick person that can't get enough of me, and no wonder people in my own house are laughing. But what Chris Geo and Cherie Geo have done at TFR now is they've put on the KBS Encore. It's like a replay of an old show before I come on live that day. So you are getting an absolute abundance. In fact, there's enough KBS out there to sicken anyone to the core. I'm only joking, folks. But until tomorrow, in fact, until later, get all confused now. Where's my music going? There we go. There's my music. Ready? I'm out of here, folks.